The Boeing 737 was falling. Falling fast. Two experienced pilots pulling controls, nothing worked. "We're dead," the captain transmitted. 289 passengers screaming, diving toward Earth at 600 miles per hour. 90 seconds until impact. Until a tiny voice cut through the chaos, "No, we're not." Small hands, 9-year-old hands that couldn't even reach the pedals, grabbed controls nobody thought a child could understand. Her dead parents had made sure she could. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. The thing about Zara Chen that nobody on Southwest Flight 2891 understood was this: she wasn't supposed to exist. Not in the way most people think about existence, breathing, living, taking up space in seat 8C with her purple unicorn leggings and her light-up sneakers that blinked pink every time she kicked the seat in front of her. She existed just fine in that way. No, Zara Chen wasn't supposed to exist as a pilot. 9 years old. 4 feet tall. 55 pounds. Missing her left front tooth, which had fallen out 3 days ago into her grandma's tomato soup, making them both laugh until grandma cried, though Zara suspected the crying wasn't really about the tooth. She clutched Captain Waddles, her stuffed penguin, worn soft from 1,000 anxious hugs, and stared out the window at clouds that looked like her father's handwriting. Messy. Beautiful. Gone. The businessman in 8B hadn't looked at her once. He was too busy typing angry emails on his laptop, his fingers punching keys like they'd personally offended him. The college student in 8A had headphones in, head bobbing to music Zara couldn't hear, lost in a world that didn't include annoying children in middle seats. Nobody saw her. That was fine. Zara had learned that being invisible was easier than explaining. Easier than saying, "My parents are dead." Easier than saying, "They spent their last living years teaching me to fly because they knew they wouldn't be here to protect me." Easier than saying, "I have more flight hours than most commercial pilots, but I can't legally drive a car for 7 more years." So Zara stayed quiet, pulled out her notebook, her father's handwriting filled every page, and read procedures the way other kids read comic books. Emergency descent checklist. Oxygen masks. Depressurization. Terrain warning responses. The flight attendant, Patricia, her name tag said, stopped by for the 4th time. "You okay, sweetie? Need anything? Snack? Juice box?" Zara shook her head. "I'm fine, thank you. Your dad meeting you in Chicago?" The question hit like turbulence. Zara's fingers tightened on Captain Waddles. "My aunt," she said quietly. "Thanksgiving." Patricia smiled that professional smile flight attendants perfect, warm but distant, and moved on. Zara returned to her notebook, to her father's words written in blue ink that had faded but never quite disappeared. "Baby girl, if you're reading this, something has gone wrong on a flight. Don't panic. You know what to do. I taught you. Mommy taught you. We're with you. Always." The handwriting blurred. Zara blinked hard. She didn't want to cry on an airplane. Crying made people notice you. Ask questions. Try to help in ways that didn't help at all. So she grabbed her Nintendo Switch instead, loaded up a game she wasn't really playing, and tried to be normal. Just a regular 9-year-old on a regular flight. Except Zara Chen had stopped being regular the day her mother sat her down at age 4 and said, "Baby, Mommy and Daddy are sick. We're going to go away. But first, we're going to teach you something special." 4 years earlier. Phoenix, Arizona. The Chen family home, small, warm, filled with photographs of airplanes and certificates from flight schools and a 4-year-old girl who didn't yet understand what death meant. Mei Chen sat across from her daughter at the kitchen table, holding hands that were already starting to shake. The diagnosis had been clear: progressive neurological disorder. Both parents. Same rare genetic mutation. 5 years, maybe less. Motor control would deteriorate. Reaction times would slow. Flying would become impossible long before death arrived. Two pilots whose entire lives were built around the sky, being told the sky was closing. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was Zara. Their daughter. 4 years old. Beautiful. Curious. Obsessed with airplanes because that's what happens when both parents are pilots, aviation becomes the family language. What happens to her? May had asked the doctors. When we're gone. Family, the doctor said. Grandparents? Siblings? David's mother was 63, healthy but old. May's parents were in Taiwan, elderly, unsuited for raising a young child. She'll be alone, David said, his voice cracking. Orphaned by age 9 or 10. They sat in the doctor's office, holding hands, facing a future that felt like a nosedive with no recovery possible. Then May said something that would change everything. We can't protect her from what's coming. But we can prepare her. The basement renovation started that week. $80,000 they didn't have. Credit cards maxed. Second mortgage on the house. Every spare dollar poured into building something that seemed insane to anyone who knew about it. A flight simulator. Professional grade. Multi-screen displays. Actual aircraft controls salvaged from a scrapped 737. Physics modeling accurate enough to train commercial pilots. And a chair modified with booster blocks so a 4-year-old could reach the controls. David, are you sure about this? May's sister had asked when she visited, seeing the setup. She's 4. This is crazy. We're dying, David said simply. We won't be here to protect her. But if we can teach her to save herself, if she's ever on a plane and something goes wrong, she'll know what to do. She'll survive even when we're gone. You're teaching a 4-year-old to land a plane. We're teaching our daughter that she's not helpless. That we loved her enough to give her every tool we could before we left. May had come down the stairs then, holding Zara's hand. Baby girl, want to play airplane with mommy and daddy? Zara's eyes went huge. Really? Really? We're going to teach you to fly. Like a real pilot. Like you. Exactly like us. That was the beginning. 6 days a week. 3 hours a day. Every day after preschool, later after kindergarten, then first grade, second grade, third grade. Zara would come home, drop her backpack, grab Captain Waddles for moral support, and head to the basement where her parents waited. At first, it was play. Games. Fun. Zara, can you find the altimeter? The one that shows how high we are. Tiny finger pointing, that one. Perfect. What number is it showing? 5,000. 5,000 feet. You're so smart. High five. But slowly, carefully, it became more. Zara, the engine just failed. Engine number 1. See the red light? What do you do? Pull the fire handle. Good. Then what? Increase power on engine 2 to maintain altitude. Perfect. You just saved the airplane. By age 5, Zara could identify every instrument on a 737 panel. By age 6, she could execute textbook takeoffs and landings in the simulator, her small hands moving across controls with growing confidence. By age 7, she could handle engine failures, system malfunctions, emergency descents, scenarios that would make experienced pilots sweat. By age 8, she could fly ILS approaches in zero visibility, manage dual hydraulic failures, execute go-arounds under pressure. The training wasn't gentle. It couldn't be. May and David were racing against a disease that was stealing their coordination, their reaction time, their ability to demonstrate procedures. Again, David would say when Zara messed up a landing. You were too high on approach. Do it again. Daddy, I'm tired. I know, baby girl. But when you're on a real airplane and something goes wrong, you can't be tired. You have to know this so well your hands do it even when your brain is scared. Again. So she'd do it again. And again. And again. Until a perfect emergency landing became as automatic as breathing. They recorded everything. Hundreds of hours of audio, their voices explaining every scenario, every procedure, every possible disaster. Zara, if you hear terrain, you pull back on the yoke hard and push throttles forward. Don't think. Just do it. Promise Daddy. Baby, if engines go quiet, you have about 12 minutes to find somewhere to land. Look for roads, fields, anything flat. Mommy will help you. Just listen for my voice in your head. If the nose drops and won't come back up, you have 90 seconds. Use differential thrust. Create drag imbalance with speed brakes. Don't give up. Never give up. They made her practice until tears ran down her face from exhaustion. Then they'd hold her, kiss her forehead, and whisper, "We love you so much. This is because we love you. Remember that." Zara was 7 when her mother died. May had been getting weaker for months. Tremors in her hands. Difficulty walking. Words slurring. But she kept teaching until the very end. The last simulator session, May in a wheelchair next to the controls, Zara at age 7 executing a perfect single-engine landing, ended with May crying. "I won't be here to see you grow up," May whispered. "Won't see you graduate. Get married. Have babies. But Zara, baby, I need you to promise me something." "What, Mommy?" "Keep training. Keep learning. Your daddy will teach you everything I can't. And someday, maybe this will matter. Maybe you'll save yourself. Save others. And I'll be watching from wherever I am, so proud of my baby girl. I promise, Mommy." May died 3 weeks later. Peacefully. At home. Holding David's hand. At the funeral, 7-year-old Zara stood in a black dress she hated, holding Captain Waddles, not understanding why Mommy wouldn't wake up. David knelt down, tears streaming. "Mommy's flying now. In heaven. Where she doesn't need an airplane. She'll always watch over you. Can she see me practice? Every single time. Then I'll practice extra hard. So she's proud." David pulled his daughter close and sobbed. 1 year later, David was gone too. The disease took him faster than expected. By age 8, Zara was executing scenarios her father could barely explain anymore, his words slurring, his hands too weak to demonstrate. But he kept teaching. Right up until the end. The last coherent thing David Chen said to his daughter happened in the basement, Zara at the controls, David in a wheelchair, barely able to speak. "You're the best pilot I ever trained. Better than me. Better than Mommy. Remember everything. We love you so much. I love you too, Daddy." He died that night. An 8-year-old Zara Chen became an orphan with 2,400 hours of flight training and nobody to fly with anymore. Grandma Chen, David's mother, didn't understand what her son had done. Teaching a baby to fly airplanes, she'd say, shaking her head. David always was obsessed. But this was too much. She's just a child. But she kept the simulator. Kept it running. Let Zara practice when she wanted. Maybe it brings her comfort, Grandma Chen told her friends. Reminds her of her parents. Who am I to take that away? So Zara lived a double life. At school, normal 4th grader. Friends. Homework. Recess. Nobody knew. At home, pilot in training. Hours in the simulator. Practicing scenarios. Keeping promises to ghosts. She didn't talk about flying. It made her sad. Made her miss mommy and daddy. She just wanted to be normal. Which is why, on November 20th, when Grandma Chen drove her to Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport for her flight to Chicago, Zara felt relieved. Just a normal flight. Just a normal visit to Aunt Linda for Thanksgiving. No flying. No pressure. Just being a kid. Grandma Chen kissed her goodbye at security. Be good, sweetie. Call me when you land. I will, Grandma. And Zara? Yeah. Your parents would be so proud of you. No matter what. Zara hugged Captain Waddles and walked through security, not knowing that in 3 hours, she'd have to break every promise she'd made about staying normal. The Boeing 737 MAX, sleek, modern, beautiful, sat at gate B-17 like a patient metal bird. Zara boarded early with other unaccompanied minors, an airline employee walking her to seat 8C, middle seat, economy, exactly where a 9-year-old traveling alone belonged. The flight attendant, Patricia, kind eyes, professional smile, checked on her. You okay, honey? Need anything? I'm fine. Thank you. Window would have been better for a kiddo, but we're full today. Sorry about the middle seat. It's okay. Patricia moved on. Zara settled in, Captain Waddles on her lap, backpack under the seat in front containing, half-eaten gummy bears, her Nintendo Switch, and the notebook filled with her father's handwriting. The businessman took 8B, laptop out immediately, already annoyed at having a child next to him. The college student took 8A, headphones in, ignoring everyone. Boarding continued. Families. Business travelers. Tourists. 289 souls filling the aircraft. Nobody noticed Zara. Nobody saw anything special about the small girl with pigtails and light-up sneakers. Nobody knew. Captain Michael Reynolds, 22 years with Southwest, 15,000 flight hours, perfect safety record, settled into the left seat of the cockpit. First Officer Sarah Martinez, 10 years, 6,000 hours, equally solid, ran through pre-flight checks. Looking good, Captain. Weather's clear. Should be a smooth ride to Chicago. Perfect. Let's make it boring. In aviation, boring is beautiful. Boring means routine. Safe. Everyone goes home. They had no idea boring was about to end forever. 2:15 p.m., Southwest Flight 2891 pushed back from the gate. 2:32 p.m., takeoff from Phoenix Sky Harbor, runway 25R. 2:45 p.m., reaching cruising altitude of 37,000 feet. For the next 90 minutes, it was exactly what Captain Reynolds wanted, boring. Zara played her Nintendo Switch, half-heartedly jumping through levels, mostly thinking about Thanksgiving with Aunt Linda. Turkey. Stuffing. Pumpkin pie. Normal kid things. The businessman typed angry emails. The college student dozed. Patricia served drinks with practiced efficiency. And Southwest 2891 flew smoothly toward Chicago, crossing Arizona, New Mexico, and into Kansas. Until 4:23 p.m., somewhere over the endless flatness of America's heartland, when the universe decided boring was over. The first indication was a sound. Bang. Metallic. Violent. Deep from within the aircraft's belly. Zara's head snapped up from her game. She knew that sound. Her father had played it in the simulator 100 times. She'd heard it so many times it was burned into her memory like a song you can't forget. Hydraulic failure. Catastrophic. The aircraft began to shake. Not normal turbulence. Not bumpy air. This was violent trembling, like the airplane itself was having a seizure. Passengers looked up. Confused. Concerned. Then the nose dropped. Not gradually. Not gently. The aircraft pitched forward violently, throwing everyone against their seatbelts. Screams erupted. Laptops flew. Phones scattered. Drinks spilled. Pure terror spreading like fire through the cabin. Zara grabbed her armrests, her small knuckles white. She'd done this scenario multiple times. Scenario 47, dual hydraulic failure with pitch control loss. Her father's voice echoed in her memory, clear as if he were sitting next to her. If the nose drops hard and won't come back up, the pilots have about 90 seconds before the dive becomes unrecoverable. They'll try manual inputs. If those don't work, they're out of options. The overhead bins rattled. Oxygen masks deployed with a collective gasp. People screamed. Through the window, Zara could see the ground. They were in a dive, angle steep and getting steeper. The captain's voice came over the PA system, strained, professional training fighting raw terror. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a serious flight control emergency. Everyone brace for. The aircraft pitched harder. Steeper. The angle increased. And then, accidentally, in their panic, someone in the cockpit left the PA system on. The entire cabin heard what happened next. First Officer Martinez, manual reversion isn't responding. Hydraulics are gone. I can't pull up. Captain Reynolds, engines full power. Try asymmetric thrust. Martinez, not working. We're at 40 degrees nose down. Altitude descending through 30,000. Reynolds, tower, this is Southwest 2891. We have total flight control failure. Aircraft is in unrecoverable dive. His voice broke. We're dead. Tell our families we. Silence. Just the scream of wind. The roar of engines. The wail of alarms. And 289 passengers hearing their pilots give up. Hearing their death sentence. The businessman in 8B was sobbing into his phone, I love you. Tell the kids I love them. I'm so sorry. The college student in 8A sat frozen, tears streaming, too terrified to even scream. All around, the sounds of people saying goodbye. Praying. Crying. Accepting. And Zara Chen, 9 years old, missing a front tooth, holding Captain Waddles the penguin, stared at the cockpit door and thought one thing. No. No, we're not. She unbuckled her seatbelt. Stood. The aircraft was shaking violently. Descending through 28,000 feet. 90 seconds until impact, maybe less. People didn't notice her moving. They were too busy dying. Zara walked forward, small, determined steps, toward where Patricia sat strapped in her jump seat, face white, tears running, accepting the end. A tiny hand tugged on Patricia's sleeve. Excuse me, miss. Patricia looked down at this child, this baby, and sobbed, Sweetie, please, sit down, I'm so sorry. I need to go to the cockpit. Patricia's brain couldn't process the request. Honey, no, you need to. I can fly, Zara interrupted. Her voice was small but absolutely steady. My mommy and daddy were pilots. They taught me. I have 2,400 hours of flight training. I know what to do. Patricia stared. A 9-year-old claiming she could fly. This was insane. Impossible. A child's delusion in the face of death. Scenario 47, Zara continued, her voice taking on a strange, mechanical quality, repeating words her father had drilled into her. Dual hydraulic failure with pitch control loss. Solution, use differential throttle inputs to control pitch angle, deploy speed brakes asymmetrically to create drag imbalance for directional control, and prepare for no-flap landing with manual gear deployment. I've practiced this scenario 83 times. My highest score was 92%. I know exactly how to fix it. Patricia's mouth hung open. This child had just rattled off technical procedures that Patricia didn't even understand. 25,000 feet. 1 minute until impact. Patricia Chen made an impossible decision. She unbuckled. Grabbed Zara's hand. Ran toward the cockpit. Pure chaos. Alarms screaming, terrain pull up. Captain Reynolds pulling back on the yoke with both hands, muscles straining, nothing responding. First Officer Martinez working every control frantically, throttles, trim, rudder, nothing working. The ground visible through the windscreen, rushing up impossibly fast. 20,000 feet. 50 seconds to impact. Patricia burst through the cockpit door with Zara. Captain. This child says she knows how to fly. Says her parents were pilots. Reynolds didn't even look back, voice desperate, get her out. We're about to crash. And then a small voice, so small it almost got lost in the noise, said 3 words that stopped time. No, we're not. Reynolds' head whipped around. He saw a 9-year-old child in unicorn leggings holding a stuffed penguin. What? Zara stepped forward, her voice louder now, certain, no, we're not dead. My daddy taught me this scenario. You're trying to pull up but the hydraulics are gone. Manual reversion won't work. But you can still fly, you just have to use the engines. Kid, we don't have time. Engine number 1 to maximum power. Engine number 2 to 60% power. That creates an asymmetric thrust differential. The aircraft will yaw slightly but the nose will start to rise. Then you deploy left side speed brakes only. That creates a drag imbalance. More yaw, more pitch change. The nose will come up. Martinez stared at this child. How do you? Then you maintain the engine differential and use speed brakes to control descent rate. You can't land normally, no flaps, no hydraulics, but you can control the dive enough to survive. I can show you. 18,000 feet. 40 seconds. Reynolds looked at Martinez. Martinez looked at Reynolds. 2 veteran pilots with 32 years combined experience, staring at a 9-year-old who was explaining procedures they'd never heard of. Because they'd never needed to. Because pilots don't practice scenarios where all hydraulics fail. It's too rare. Too catastrophic. But Zara's parents had made her practice it. 83 times. Because they knew their daughter might someday need to save herself. Captain, Martinez said, voice cracking, we have nothing to lose. Reynolds made the choice, tell me what to do. Zara's voice became mechanical, no longer a 9-year-old girl but a recording of her father's training, played back through her small body. Engine 1, maximum power. Now. Martinez's hands flew to the throttles. Pushed engine 1 to full. Engine 2, 60%. Not more. Not less. Martinez pulled engine 2 back to exactly 60%. The aircraft shuddered. The asymmetric thrust created a yaw moment, the nose trying to turn. And slowly, impossibly, the pitch angle began to decrease. 40 degrees. 38. 36. It's working. Reynolds gasped. The nose is coming up. 15,000 feet. 30 seconds. Left speed brakes only, Zara continued. Deploy them halfway. It creates drag on one side. The aircraft will yaw more. The yaw creates pitch change. Reynolds' hands found the speed brake lever. Deployed only the left side. The aircraft shuddered again, fighting, struggling, but responding. The nose continued rising. 34 degrees. 32. 30. 10,000 feet. 20 seconds. More power on engine 1, Zara said. Her voice was tiny but absolutely certain. My daddy says if you're gonna hit the ground, hit it going up, not down. Martinez pushed engine 1 past maximum, into emergency power. The nose rose faster. 28 degrees. 24. 20. 5,000 feet. 10 seconds. The dive was stopping. The aircraft was still descending, still falling, but the angle was becoming survivable. Reynolds pulled back gently on the yoke. It didn't respond to pitch, but it helped stabilize. 3,000 feet. 5 seconds. 18 degrees. 16. 14. 2,000 feet. 12 degrees. The aircraft leveled at 10 degrees nose down, still descending but controlled, manageable, alive. Reynolds stared at the instruments, hands shaking. We're not diving anymore. We pulled out. He turned to look at Zara. She was standing between the pilot's seats, too small to reach any controls, too light to even see over the center console, holding Captain Waddles the Penguin with tears running down her face. "How did you know that?" Reynolds whispered. "My daddy taught me," Zara said simply. "Before he died. He taught me all the scenarios. So if I was ever on a plane and something bad happened, I'd know what to do. So I could save myself even when mommy and daddy were gone." Martinez stared at her. "How old are you?" 9. "I'm in 4th grade. But I have 2,400 flight hours. My mommy and daddy were both pilots. They trained me every day for 5 years." Over the radio, air traffic control had been listening to everything: the emergency, the dive, the recovery. "Southwest 2891, this is Denver Center. We heard everything. Who is flying that aircraft?" Reynolds keyed the mic, voice shaking. "Tower, this is Southwest 2891. We have a 9-year-old passenger who just saved 289 lives." Silence. Complete shocked silence on the frequency. Then, "Southwest 2891, say again." "Did you say, 9 years old?" "Affirmative, Tower." "Her name is," Reynolds looked at Zara. "Zara Chen," she said into the mic, her tiny voice broadcast across aviation frequencies. "My mommy was Captain Mei Chen, Southwest Airlines. My daddy was Captain David Chen, American Airlines. They both died. But before they died, they taught me how to fly. They said if I was ever on a plane and something went wrong, I'd know what to do. They wanted me to be safe even when they were gone." Another long silence. Then a different voice, older, authoritative, heavy with emotion. "Zara Chen, this is General Marcus Webb, Air Force Command, listening on emergency frequency. I knew your parents. May and David Chen. They were 2 of the finest pilots I ever met. And it appears they created an even better pilot. Zara, can you help these pilots land that aircraft?" Zara looked at the instruments: altitude 4,000 feet, descending slowly but controlled, speed steady, aircraft wounded but flyable. "Yes, sir. We can land. But we need a really long runway because we can't use flaps. And the landing is gonna be rough. Really rough. And I can't do the actual flying because my feet don't reach the pedals. But I can tell Captain Reynolds and Miss Martinez what to do. If they trust me." Reynolds looked at this child, this impossible, miraculous child, and said, "I trust you completely." "Then let's bring everyone home," Zara said. And smiled, gap-toothed, 9 years old, holding a stuffed penguin. For the next 12 minutes, the world watched something impossible unfold. Zara Chen stood between the pilot's seats, so small she had to stand on tiptoes to see the instruments clearly, pointing at displays with one hand while clutching Captain Waddles with the other. Her voice, tiny but certain, guided 2 veteran pilots through procedures they'd never trained for. "Okay, we're at 4,000 feet. That's good. But we're still going down about 500 feet per minute. That's too fast. We need to slow the descent." "How?" Martinez asked, trusting this child completely now. "Increase engine 2 to 70%. Keep engine 1 at maximum. The differential gets smaller, so we descend slower." Martinez adjusted throttles. The descent rate decreased. 400 feet per minute. 300. Perfect, Zara said. Now we need to talk to the tower. We need a really long runway. And we need emergency vehicles. Lots of them. Reynolds keyed the radio, Denver Center, Southwest 2891. We need the longest runway available. We'll have no flaps, no hydraulics, and we're coming in fast. Very fast. Southwest 2891, Denver International Runway 16 R is 16,000 feet. We're clearing it now. Emergency vehicles are rolling. Zara, Reynolds asked, what speed do we need? She closed her eyes, and her father's voice spoke through her memory. No flap landing, baby girl. You'll be going about 200 knots when you should be going 130. The airplane will float. It won't want to land. And when it does land, it's gonna be hard. Real hard. But if you keep the wings level and the nose straight, you'll be okay. 200 knots, Zara said, opening her eyes. We're gonna be going really fast. The landing will be really hard. People might get hurt. But we'll be alive. At Air Force Command, General Webb had scrambled two F-16 fighters from Buckley Air Force Base. Viper lead, you are cleared hot. Proceed to intercept Southwest 2891. Visual escort only. That aircraft has a 9-year-old pilot talking them down. In his F-16, Major Sarah Reeves couldn't believe what she'd heard. Tower, confirm, did you say 9 years old? Affirmative, Viper lead. 9-year-old Zara Chen, daughter of Captain Mei Chen and Captain David Chen. Both deceased. Both legendary pilots. The child has over 2,000 hours of simulator training. She just pulled that 737 out of an unrecoverable dive. Reeves felt chills, copy that. Viper lead is en route. Minutes later, two F-16s pulled alongside Southwest 2891, sleek, powerful, a military honor guard for a wounded civilian aircraft. Reeves keyed the radio, Southwest 2891, this is Viper lead. We have visual contact. Looking good from here. Zara, your parents would be so incredibly proud of you. We're with you all the way down. Inside the cockpit, Zara's eyes filled with tears. Can you tell them, she whispered. Can you tell my mommy and daddy that I remembered everything they taught me? Reeves' voice cracked, they already know, sweetheart. They're watching. And they're so proud. Back in the cabin, Patricia had made an announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Patricia. We're going to land safely. Thanks to a very special passenger, a 9-year-old girl named Zara Chen, who knew exactly what to do when our pilots needed help. When we land, it's going to be rough. Stay in your seats. Stay buckled. And when we're on the ground, thank that little girl. She just saved all our lives. The businessman in 8B was crying, there was a kid sitting next to me. This whole time. The college student in 8A pulled off her headphones, stunned, the girl in the middle seat. All through the cabin, people were crying, praying, holding hands with strangers. Altitude 1,000 feet. Denver International Airport sprawled below, massive, modern, ready. Zara stood between the pilots, her small hand pointing at instruments. Okay, we're lined up with the runway. Good. Speed is 205 knots. A little fast. Reduce engine 1 to 90%. Reynolds adjusted. Speed decreased slightly. Altitude 500 feet. We're close now. Don't flare too much, that's when you pull back before landing. If you flare like normal, we'll float forever and run out of runway. Just let the airplane settle. Let gravity do the work. Copy that, Reynolds said, his hands steady now, trusting this child completely. 300 feet. The F-16s peeled off, giving space. 200 feet. The runway filled the windscreen, long, gray, beautiful. 100 feet. Almost there, Captain Reynolds, Zara said softly. You're doing great. My daddy would say you're a really good pilot. 50 feet. When we touch down, it's gonna be really hard. Don't be scared. The tires might explode. That's okay. Just hold the nose straight. Use the engines to steer. Engine 1 more power turns left, engine 2 more power turns right. You can do this. 20 feet. 10. Reynolds whispered, here we go. 5 feet. The 737 slammed into runway 16 are like a falling brick. Boom. Tires exploded instantly, all 6 main gear tires shredding, rubber flying. Sparks erupted from the wheel rims grinding on concrete. The aircraft skidded, sliding, fighting, screeching. Reynolds worked the engine throttles frantically, following Zara's instructions. More engine 1. We're drifting right. Less engine 2. Too much. Straight. Hold it straight. The aircraft slid for what felt like forever, 6,000 feet, 7,000, 8,000. And finally, impossibly, stopped. 9,000 feet down a 16,000-foot runway. Stopped. Safe. Alive. The cockpit was silent except for alarms still screaming and the hiss of destroyed tires. Reynolds sat frozen, hands still on the controls, tears streaming down his face. Martinez was sobbing openly. And Zara Chen, 9 years old, 4 feet tall, 55 pounds, stood between them holding Captain Waddles the Penguin and whispered. I did it, Mommy. I did it, Daddy. I brought everyone home. Then she started crying, really crying, all the fear and terror and pressure finally breaking through. Patricia appeared, scooped Zara into her arms, and held her while the child sobbed. You saved us, Patricia whispered. You saved all of us. Through the cockpit windows, they could see emergency vehicles surrounding the aircraft, fire trucks, ambulances, police cars. And beyond them, news helicopters descending. The world was watching. Within 30 minutes, Zara's face was on every screen across the planet. CNN, 9-year-old lands jet after pilots lose control. BBC, child prodigy saves 289 lives over Kansas. Al Jazeera, 4th grader with 2,400 flight hours. The video, recorded by passengers, went viral instantly. A small girl in unicorn leggings standing in a cockpit doorway. Her tiny voice saying procedures. The aircraft pulling out of a dive. The impossible landing. Within hours, 1 billion views. The passengers deplaned slowly, many stopping to hug Zara, to thank her, to take photos. The businessman from 8B knelt down, I didn't even notice you. I was so busy with work, I didn't see you. And you saved my life. I'm so sorry. And thank you. Thank you so much. The college student from 8A, you're the bravest person I've ever met. When I grow up, I want to be like you. Zara just hugged Captain Waddles and nodded, overwhelmed. Grandma Chen arrived from Phoenix on an emergency flight, running through Denver International Airport with tears streaming. Zara. Zara. Grandma. They collided in a hug that lasted forever. Your daddy, Grandma Chen sobbed. Your mommy. They knew. They knew you'd need this someday. I thought they were crazy. But they were preparing you. Saving you even after they were gone. I remembered everything, Grandma. Every single thing they taught me. I know, baby. I know. They're so proud of you. So proud. The next day, FAA headquarters, Washington, D.C. A press conference room packed with hundreds of reporters from every major outlet on Earth. At the front table, Captain Reynolds. First Officer Martinez. Patricia the flight attendant. And Zara Chen, sitting on a booster seat so she could reach the microphone, still wearing her future astronaut hoodie, still holding Captain Waddles. The FAA administrator spoke first. Yesterday, Southwest Flight 2891 experienced a catastrophic dual hydraulic failure, a scenario so rare, so deadly, that it's only happened 3 times in commercial aviation history. All previous incidents resulted in total loss of aircraft and lives. Yesterday should have been the 4th. But it wasn't. Because of Zara Chen. This 9-year-old child, trained by her parents before they died, knew procedures that even our most experienced pilots don't train for. She saved 289 lives. And in doing so, she's forced us to ask difficult questions about what happened, why it happened, and what it means. The floor open to questions. Reporter number 1, Zara, how did you know what to do? Zara's small voice, my mommy and daddy taught me. They made a simulator in our basement. They made me practice every single day. Even when I was tired. Even when I wanted to play instead. They said someday it might matter. And they were right. Reporter number 2, do you think your parents were right to train you? You were only 4 years old. Zara thought for a long moment, hugging Captain Waddles. My mommy and daddy were sick. They knew they were going to die. They knew I'd be alone. They couldn't protect me after they were gone. So they did the only thing they could, they taught me how to protect myself. Was it hard? Yeah. Sometimes I cried because I was tired. Sometimes I didn't understand why we had to practice the same thing over and over and over. But yesterday, I understood. They practiced with me so much that my hands knew what to do even when I was really scared. My daddy's voice was in my head telling me the steps. My mommy's voice saying, you can do this, baby girl. Yesterday, 289 people went home to their families. Mommies and daddies and grandmas and grandpas and kids. They're alive because my parents loved me enough to teach me. So yeah. I think they were right. Not a dry eye in the room. Reporter number 3, there are people saying your parents put too much pressure on a child. That this was child abuse disguised as training. What do you say to that? Zara's voice got quiet, my parents are dead. They can't defend themselves. So I'll defend them. They didn't abuse me. They loved me. Every single day, they told me they loved me. Every simulator session ended with hugs and kisses. They were dying. They were scared. Not for themselves, for me. For what would happen to me when they were gone. So they gave me a gift. They gave me the ability to save myself. To save others. They turned me into someone who could face the worst and not give up. People are saying they gave me a burden. But they gave me power. They gave me confidence. They gave me knowledge. And yesterday, that gift saved 289 lives. So don't you dare say my parents were bad. They were the best parents ever. They loved me so much they spent their last years making sure I'd be okay without them. That's not abuse. That's love. The biggest love there is. The room exploded with applause. Reporter number 4, Zara, what do you want to be when you grow up? Zara smiled, gap-toothed, 9 years old. I'm gonna be a pilot. A captain. Like my mommy and daddy. I'm gonna fly for them since they can't fly anymore. I'm gonna save people. Bring them home safe to their families. Because that's what pilots do. And that's what my parents taught me. When I'm big enough to reach the pedals for real, I'm gonna fly. And my mommy and daddy will be watching. Proud. But not everyone celebrated. The debate raged across social media, news outlets, academic circles. Child prodigy or child exploitation? Did dead parents give gift or trauma? The ethics of training a 4-year-old to face death. Child psychologists weighed in. This child was robbed of her childhood. Forced to carry adult responsibilities. The trauma will emerge later. Aviation experts countered. This child saved 289 lives using skills most commercial pilots don't have. Her training was extraordinary. Ethicists debated. The parents couldn't have known this would happen. They trained her based on fear, not evidence. That's not love, that's projection of their own terror onto their child. The parents did know something could happen. Statistics say most people fly multiple times in their lives. They gave their daughter the tools to survive the statistically unlikely but potentially catastrophic. That's not fear, that's preparation. The arguments went on for weeks. But the 289 passengers from Southwest Flight 2891 didn't debate. They started a foundation, the May and David Chen Memorial Foundation for Aviation Safety Education. Its mission: teach children basic aviation safety. Not to make them pilots, but to make them informed passengers who understand what's happening during emergencies. The foundation's spokesperson, the businessman from Seat 8B, said it best. Zara's parents gave their daughter an extreme education. Most kids won't need that. But every kid should understand what those oxygen masks are for. What brace means. How to stay calm. Zara's parents couldn't save themselves. But they saved their daughter. And in doing so, they saved all of us. We're going to honor that by making air travel safer for everyone's children. 3 months later, FAA headquarters. Zara sat in a conference room, still small, still 9, now missing her right front tooth too, while administrators debated her future. She can't log her 2,400 hours, one administrator said. She's not legally a pilot. She's 9 years old. We can't set a precedent. But she saved 289 lives, another countered. We can't ignore that. So what do we do? They decided on something unprecedented. The May and David Chen Award for Extraordinary Aviation Skill and Courage. A special commendation, not a license, not official flight hours, but recognition. The FAA administrator presented it to Zara personally. This award recognizes skills that exceed standard pilot certification. It honors your parents' legacy. And it establishes a program to identify and nurture young people with exceptional aviation aptitude, safely, ethically, with proper oversight. Your parents trained you in secret because they were dying and desperate. But you've shown us that young people can learn aviation at high levels if done right. This award will fund scholarships, youth aviation programs, research into aviation education for children. Your parents' gift to you becomes our gift to the next generation. Zara accepted the award, a beautiful plaque with her parents' names engraved, and whispered, "Thank you. My mommy and daddy would love this." Spring arrived in Phoenix. Zara Chen, now 10 years old, birthday in February, stood in a cemetery with Grandma Chen. She wore her future astronaut hoodie, faded now, worn from constant wearing. She carried Captain Waddle's, one eye missing, stuffing coming out, loved beyond repair. She placed flowers on 2 graves. Captain Mei Chen beloved mother, legendary pilot 1985 to 2022, she taught her daughter to fly. Captain David Chen beloved father, legendary pilot 1983 to 2023, he taught his daughter to soar. Zara knelt between them, touching both headstones. "Hi mommy. Hi daddy. It's been 6 months since the landing. Since I used everything you taught me. Everyone's still talking about it. Some people say you were wrong to train me. That you put too much pressure on me. That I should have just been a normal kid. But I don't think so. You gave me a gift. You gave me knowledge. You gave me courage. You gave me the ability to save myself and save others. Yeah, I was only 4 when we started. Yeah, I cried sometimes because I was tired. Yeah, I wanted to play instead of practice. But mommy, daddy, I saved 289 people. 289 people went home to their families because you loved me enough to teach me. There was a little girl on that plane. Her name is Emma. She's 6. Her mommy told me that Emma wants to be a pilot now because of me. That she's not scared of flying anymore because she knows someone like me could be on her plane. There was an old man, Mr. Patterson. He was flying to see his grandson for the first time. He got to meet baby James because of you. Because you trained me. There were so many people. So many lives. So many families. Were you perfect parents? I don't know. I was just a kid. I don't remember everything. But I remember you loved me. Every single day. Even when training was hard. Even when you were sick and tired and scared. You loved me enough to give me everything you had. Every skill. Every procedure. Every word of wisdom. You couldn't stay with me. But you made sure I'd be okay without you. That's not abuse. That's not trauma. That's not wrong. That's love. The biggest, most powerful love there is. Grandma lets me practice in the simulator still. I'm getting even better. Learning new scenarios. New procedures. The FAA is talking about letting me get my actual pilot's license when I'm 16, 10 years early. They're making special rules. Because of what I did. Because of what you taught me. In 6 years, I'll be old enough to fly for real. Not in a simulator. In the actual sky. And Mommy, Daddy, I promise I'll make you proud. I'll be the best pilot ever. I'll save people. Help people. Bring them home safe. I'll fly for you. Since you can't fly anymore. I miss you so much it hurts. Every single day. But when I'm in the simulator, when I'm practicing, I feel close to you. Like you're still teaching me. Still with me. People ask if I'm angry that you spent my childhood teaching me to fly instead of letting me play. I tell them no. Because childhood is temporary. But what you taught me is forever. You gave me 5 years of training. And those 5 years saved 289 lifetimes. That's not a burden, Mommy and Daddy. That's a miracle. Thank you. For everything. For loving me. For teaching me. For making me into someone who doesn't give up. Someone who says, no we're not, when everyone else gives up. I love you. Forever and ever. Your baby girl, Zara. She hugged Captain Waddles tight, tears streaming down her face. Grandma Chen stood behind her, hand on her shoulder, crying too. Above them, the sky was perfect, clear, blue, infinite. A Southwest 737 passed overhead, engines roaring beautifully, contrails white against blue. Zara looked up. Watched it fly. And smiled through her tears. Because somewhere up there, in the endless sky, she knew her parents were flying too. Not in an airplane. But free. Together. Watching their daughter become exactly what they trained her to be. A pilot who saves lives. A girl who refuses to give up. A child who carries her parents' love in every procedure she knows, every landing she'll ever make, every life she'll ever save. Zara stood. Wiped her tears. Looked at the sky one more time. And whispered the words that had saved 289 lives. No, we're not dead. A pause. A smile. A promise. We're flying. Forever. Captain Zara Chen, age 20, youngest commercial pilot in FAA history, stood in front of her Southwest 737. She ran her hand along the fuselage, feeling the metal, feeling the history. This wasn't the same aircraft from 10 years ago. That one had been retired, preserved in the Smithsonian Aviation Museum as the Miracle of Flight 2891. But this was the same model. Same airline. Same dream. In her pocket, Captain Waddles the penguin, too worn to fly now, but carried always for luck. On her uniform, wings. Captain's wings. Earned. Deserved. In her heart, her parents. She climbed into the cockpit, left seat, captain's seat, and ran through pre-flight checks. Her first officer, a veteran with 30 years' experience, looked at her with respect. "Ready, Captain." "Ready." She keyed the radio, "Tower, Southwest 4729, ready for departure." "Southwest 4729, cleared for takeoff, runway 25R." The same runway her parents had flown from thousands of times. Zara pushed the throttles forward. The engines roared. The aircraft accelerated. And as the wheels left the ground, as Phoenix dropped away below, as the sky opened up infinite and blue, she heard her parents' voices one more time. "We're so proud of you, baby girl. Fly safe. Bring them home. We love you forever." Captain Zarachin smiled, tears in her eyes, and whispered back, "I love you too, Mommy and Daddy. Thank you for teaching me to fly." And she did what she was born to do. She flew. This story is dedicated to every parent who prepares their children for a future they won't see. To every child who carries their parents' love forward. And to every pilot who brings people home safe, because that's what pilots do.